General Assembly of the United Nations meets on October 24th, the 5th anniversary of its founding. President Truman arrives to address the meeting. Speaking before the delegates of 60 nations, President Truman stresses the longing of the peoples throughout the world for international order and justice. He warns, however, that the road to peace is not an easy one. He explains that the United Nations represents an idea of a universal morality, and that the Korean experience has given dramatic evidence of its vitality and strength.
Governments may sometimes falter in their support of the United Nations, but the peoples of the world do not falter. The demand of men and women throughout the world for international order and justice is one of the strongest forces in these troubled times. We've just had a vivid demonstration of that fact in Korea. The invasion of the Republic of Korea was a direct challenge to the principles of the United Nations. That challenge was met by an overwhelming response. The peoples of almost every member country supported the decision of the Security Council to meet this aggression with force. Few acts in our time have met with such widespread approval. In uniting to crush the aggressors in Korea, these member nations have done no more than the Charter calls for. But the important thing is that they have done it, and they have done it successfully. They have given dramatic evidence that the Charter works. They have proved that the Charter is a living instrument, backed by the material and moral strength of members large and small. At the present time, the fear of another great international war overshadows all the hopes of mankind. This fear arises from the tensions between nations and from the recent outbreak of open aggression in Korea. We in the United States believe that such a war can be prevented. We do not believe that war is inevitable. One of the strongest reasons for this belief is our faith in the United Nations. The United Nations has three great roles to play in preventing wars. First, it provides a way for negotiation and the settlement of disputes among nations by peaceful means. Second, it provides a way of utilizing collective strength of member nations under the Charter to prevent aggression. Third, it provides a way through which, once the danger of aggression is reduced, the nations can be relieved of the burden of armaments. All of us must help the United Nations to be effective in performing these functions. The Charter obligates all of us to settle our disputes peacefully. Today is an appropriate occasion for us solemnly to reaffirm our obligations under the Charter. Within the spirit and even the letter of the Charter, we shall go even further. We must attempt to find peaceful adjustments of underlying situations or tensions before they harden into actual disputes. The basic issues in the world today affect the fate of millions of people. Here in the United Nations, there is an opportunity for the large and the small alike to have their voices heard on these issues. Here, the interests of every country can be considered in the settlement of problems which are of common concern. We believe that negotiation is an essential part of this peaceful process. The United States, as one of the members of the United Nations, is prepared now as always to enter into negotiations. We insist only that negotiations be entered into in good faith and be governed throughout by a spirit of willingness to reach proper solutions. While we will continue to take advantage of every opportunity here in the United Nations and elsewhere to settle differences by peaceful means, we have learned from hard experience that we cannot rely upon negotiation alone to preserve the peace. In these circumstances, the United Nations, if it is to be an effective instrument for keeping the peace, has no choice except to use the collective strength of its members to curb aggression. For nearly 5 years, 2 commissions of the United Nations have been working on the problem of disarmament. One commission has been concerned with the elimination of atomic weapons, and the other with the reduction of other types of armaments and armed forces. Thus far, these commissions have not been successful in obtaining agreement among all the major powers. Nevertheless, these years of effort have served to bring to the attention of all nations the 3 basic principles upon which any successful plan of disarmament must rest. First, the plan must include all kinds of weapons. Outlawing any particular kind of weapon is not enough. The conflict in Korea bears tragic witness to the fact that aggression, whatever the weapons used, brings frightful destruction. Second, the plan must be based on unanimous agreement. A majority of nations is not enough. No plan of disarmament can work unless it includes every nation having substantial armed forces. One-sided disarmament is a sure invitation to aggression. Third, the plan must be foolproof. Paper promises are not enough. Disarmament must be based on safeguards which will ensure the compliance of all nations. The safeguards must be adequate to give immediate warning of any threatened violation. Disarmament must be policed continuously and thoroughly. It must be founded upon free and open interchange of information across national borders. But until an effective system of disarmament is established, let us be clear about the task ahead. The only course the peace-loving nations can take in the present situation is to create the armaments needed to make the world secure against aggression.